Hey Cha-Cha Nation.
Hi Cha-Cha Nation.
Hi Cha-Cha Nation.
Yes, so Cha-Cha Nation. This is now Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast. And based on logistics, we're going to amplify the African sound by bringing the best of African music into your ears.
Yeah.
Cha-Cha.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and members of the Cha-Cha Nation, my name is Hafeestonova, aka your musical plug and creator of the Energy Force. Welcome to another episode of the Cha-Cha Album Review Series on your award-winning podcast, Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast. I have one of the freshest and one of the baddest OAP all the way from the north. I'm talking about my main guy, my brother from another mother, the world famous Jerry Abe.
My man, so is this hype not too much for me like this? Wow, thanks a lot, and it's nice being on your podcast again. I know we've done this, like we've chopped this off several times, but yeah, and I'm glad we're doing this again.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here once again. I mean, like I said, you what's up the hype, my brother. So today we'll be talking about Black Sherif debut album, which is titled The Villian I Never Was. But before we go into what the album sounds like, whether it was a villain or is an hero, let's talk about some information about the album. So like I said, the name of the album is titled The Villian I Never Was. The album was released on the 7th of October 2022. The album contains 14 tracks and it featured Burna Boy. The producers include Nharnah, you have LiTek, you have Whyjay, you have R&D, you have AOD, you have J5, and surprising, you have Black Sherif himself as one of the producers. You have Dystinkt Beats, you have Zailor, you have London, you have Samsney, and you have Ghanaian Stallion. Those are the producers that worked on the album. So Jerry, when you listen to this album for the first time, like on your first listening, what was your impression on the album?
Well, honestly speaking, when I listen to I am this kind of person. Normally, I don't tend to judge an album or a song I listen to by the very first time I listen to it, because I wouldn't get that kind of vibe I really want to get, so I can't comment proper on the song or whichever project the person is dropping at that particular point in time. But yeah, Black Sherif's album, The Villian I Never was actually a phenomenal album to me, I'd say. But first time listening to it, yeah, I never felt the vibe I needed from Black Sherif. But then I had to take my time, take off everything I was doing, and listen to it full time. I had to pay full attention to it. And I must tell you, Black Sherif really pulled an absolute stunt on this album, because I could literally feel more of the UK drill kind of in the album, and which is literally a good one for somebody like Black Sherif, who is new to the music industry and not having to go with the regular niche everybody is doing. Afrobeat, Afropop. Let's couple with the fact that he's more affiliated to the Nigerian artists and even his fellow Ghanaian artists and all of that. So like a normal artist coming out from nowhere will most definitely jump on Afrobeat, Afropop, maybe Alive, we never can say. But then for someone to go as hard as dropping an album, and you could literally feel more of UK drill. That's what I felt when I listened to the album. And to be very honest, like, it was just wow. It was wow for me. Black Sherif really pulled a great one on the album.
Like you rightly said, Black Sherif really pulled a great one on the album. But before we even let's go back a little bit and let's talk about the first time you heard. What was the first song of Black Sherif that you heard? And when you heard that song, what was your impression about him as an artist and about that song in particular?
Okay, to be honest, the first song I heard of Black Sherif was the one he featured Burna Boy. The second time on remix. Yeah, second time on the remix. I listened to the album, I did see a single, and that was the first time hearing Black Sherif. And in my mind, I was like, okay, who is this young dude? But then I think he's trying. But what I felt personally was wasn't it too early to feature somebody like Burna? Why didn't he go for somebody less? And along the line, when he has built his reputation, his brand, and everything in the music industry, then of course, getting big artists like such individuals shouldn't be hard. But then I think for Burna, for somebody like Burna, to jump on his song, then I'm so sure Burna saw something most persons didn't see at first, and that's why I agreed to jump on the song. And yeah, the song blew Black Sherif, funny enough, because I think there was one of Burna Boy's show where he played the song, and to me I felt that was what boosted his career to some extent, aside normal music promotion and music business shit that they do like that, you get. So but then first time listening to Black Sherif wasn't really bad at all. I think I'll rate him like a 6/10, funny enough, more than a pass mark.
Okay, let me just quickly say this for the purpose of those that are also listening and for those that don't know. Now, how the collaboration between Black Sherif and Burna Boy came to life was strictly because of one guy called Pokoli. Now, for those of you that don't know, Pokoli is a Nigerian dancer. Like, he's one of the best dancer in Nigeria right about now, right? So Pokoli was the one that introduced Burna Boy to Black Sherif, and that was how. And obviously, Burna Boy, enjoyed the song, and he decided to do the remix, and he jumped on the remix. But now, like you rightly said, you listened to Black Sherif for the first time, and you felt, okay, this is something new, and this is something different, and this is something good. Now, when you now listen to the old album, would you say that Black Sherif, was able to stick to his original self, or maybe he left his original self? I mean, because before the album dropped, we had 3 original singles, or let me say 4 original singles. One of them didn't make the album. The original song, which is the the Salmon, the one that featured Black Burna Boy, the original version. Yes. Then you had the remix that featured Burna Boy. Then you had Kwaku the Traveler, and then you have Soldier. Yeah, those were the songs that were released as a single off the album, right? But again, like I said, listening to the first song, the Salmon, then listening to Kwaku the Hustler, then listening to Soldier, and then finally listening to the album, would you say Black Sherif stuck to his roots, or he decided to make a commercially appeal album, like no shall do album where people go collect, or make I just stay to my original roots?
No, I felt like I said earlier on, I felt he stick to what he was doing from initials. Like I said, I don't think Black Sherif released that album for like in a more commercial way to appease the people. Because like, when I listened to the album, it was more of I could personally feel more of the UK drill kind of thing in the album. So like a normal artist who is literally popping out right now wouldn't do something like that. If at all he really wants to, I'm not sure his management or record label or whatever thing we allow them to for the market's sake, so they could get their money. But then I think he was bold enough, and he trusted his process enough to stick to his roots. Let's just put it like that, he stick to his roots. But then I think I don't really think he deviated for any commercial reasons or anything, or for any reason at all. But the album was really worth it, to be very honest. Like, it was okay. That was like the Black Sherif I know even before his album.
From what you've been saying, oh, he didn't switch to Afrobeat, he didn't switch to highlife, and you keep mentioning UK drill. Now let's talk about the production of the album. I mean, I've already mentioned the producers that worked on on the album, and aside from, for me personally, aside from J5 and aside from London, I'm not sure I really know anybody else on the album that worked on the album in terms of producers. But what would you say about the production of the album? Let's talk about that. What's your feeling about, or what's your opinion about the production of the album?
Well, nice question. Yeah, like if I am listening to a project, I love taking note of the production of a particular project. You get, that's like the more reason why I would literally want to pay full attention to that project. Any artist is releasing that is catching my attention at that point in time. Yeah, the product, like you rightly said, the top 3 producers I know in the album were J5, London, and Black Sherif himself. I don't know any of those producers as well. But then I would say those producers put in their best, and the production was okay to me. It wasn't bad. The production of the album was, everything was okay. They did their best.
I think there was one thing that kept drawing me back to this album. The production was part of the one thing that kept drawing me back, to the album. Now let's talk about songs that, that you felt, okay, these songs were perfect, and these songs, compared to every other songs on the album, I don't think these songs were okay. What songs will you say are your favorite songs, and what song will you say did not make it for you?
If I'm to pick from the songs that didn't really make it for me, all of the songs in the album to me tried, but the ones I really didn't vibe with, to be very honest with you, were, I think, the first 2 tracks, funny enough. That's the Homeless song and Oil in My Head, funny enough.
Is there like any particular reason why you didn't vibe to those 2 songs?
No specific reason, because I have tried. Funny enough is I've listened to people say a lot about the album as well, and they did. Funny enough, the one I didn't vibe with was the one that they were really vibing the most. Then I can't really place my hand or place my finger on one particular thing that didn't really make me like that track. I just know whenever I am listening to Black Sherif's album, the first 2 tracks don't really resonate with my soul and spirit like that. So most often I skip the first 2 tracks and just continue from track 3. I think that's 45, track 3. So most of the time if I'm listening to Black Sherif's album, I start from 45 like that, down to the very last track.
Okay, since you start from 45, is it safe to assume that 45 is one of your favorite tracks?
If I'm to actually pick a favorite track from Black Sherif's album, then I think I'll go with aside Kwaku, The Traveler, and Second Sermon with Burna that made it from the single that made it to the album. If I'm to pick from other songs that is my favorite, then I think I'll go with Sad Boys Don't Fold. Why I'll go with that is because probably as at the time you released the album, I think it was what resonated with my soul at that point in time. So I could easily relate to it.
For me personally, the best track for me, my own favorite track. Now I'm not saying like this is the best track on the album, but it's just my own personal favorite track. Has to be for the. There's something about 45 that I don't know, okay, man. That 45. Yeah. That song just gets me, and shout out to the producer J5. J5, really came through on the production of that song. Aside from 45, also I also like, like you rightly said, the one you also mentioned, Sad Boys Don't Fold. I also like that also. That's on that, good track. And to be honest, the second track where you said Oil in My Head, I mean, I like that. I like that. For me, to be honest, I like every song on the album. I'm not even going to lie. But in terms of saying, okay, in terms of preference, which song will I say is my least favorite on the album? It has to be Kolongo Zongo. I don't know if I got that right, but yeah, that has to be the track I feel like I did not really feel, connected to. But aside from that, every other track on the album, it's a very, it's a very good album. Now that we've spoken about, the album in terms of the production, what we felt when we listened to the album for the first time, let's talk about the general outcome of the album. What did you feel after consuming the whole album? After you listened to it for the first time, for the second time, and the third time? Because for me, what I felt like, this is something that we've not heard of in a very long time. It's like Black Sherif is trying to bring back a style or a genre of music that seems to be fading away or that has faded away. And considering the fact that he's a Ghanaian not a Nigerian or not even a UK artist, makes it, quite unique. So for you, what would you say was unique about this album? And if you are to rate this album over 10, what would be your rating and why?
Yeah, if there is something about the album I loved, is the fact that, or I still love, is the fact that Black Sherif, like I said earlier, he actually did what he believed in. He never deviated from what he has been doing. So I love that fact, and was able to actually pull that for an album. That is actually huge for an album, not even a single. You get? So that's what actually made the album so unique for me. The fact that I actually stick to his roots, what he started with, and was able to pull that as an album is quite unique. And yeah, if I am to rate the album, I'll give it a 7 over 10. The reason because I personally wasn't expecting, to be very honest with you, I know it's quite common in the music industry, but yeah, I wasn't expecting a song like Kweku the Traveler to still make it to the album. I was thinking, okay, we're getting a brand new Black Sherif, so let's get more of new tunes. The crowd, the audience, everybody's used to Kweku the Traveler, so I don't expect hearing that same song in a new released album again, or that song that actually trended and blew. But then I can't criticize that fully, because I think most artists are used to that basically. So I think that's it. 7 over 10. I'll give it 7 over 10, and that's my reason for giving it 7 over 10.
Okay, and that is very quite understandable. I mean, for the fact that Kweku the Traveler is on the album, you have to like you rightly said, it's what, like, if you look at the album, you can say that can be termed the official single of the album, even though we can argue and say that is not like the first single that was released, but it was Kweku the Traveler that introduced us to, okay, you know what,
Kweku the Traveler blew. Yeah, Kweku the Traveler literally blew Black Sherif, no doubt. Like, everybody knows that. I think most people know Black Sherif with Kweku the Traveler. I think that's like, to a lame man that don't know Black Sherif, you would know Kweku the Traveler. So that's why
I guess for commercial success, it's only making sense that they had to add that song to the album. For me, the song I was not expecting to be the album was the second sermon featuring Burna Boy.
Like,
I was surprised that I saw the song on the album. The fact that I didn't even see the original, I saw the remix, I'm like, okay, and that kind of made it, because that's like the only feature on the album, that song that had Burna Boy
on it.
That was the only feature on the album.
I feel why he literally did that was to like let's put it for commercial reasons. Burna Boy is an album, a lame person who is not used to music randomly stumble on Black Sherif's album, the Villian. I never was, and of course no future, only Burna Boy. There's something that I literally want to make you listen to the album. So I think putting that track in there, I feel personally that was like the main reason why I did that, for commercial reasons, basically.
True. I mean, that totally makes sense. You can't see an album, if you're an African artist, or even if you're an international artist, you cannot see an album that says featuring Burna Boy and you won't want to listen. If you're not even going to listen to anything, you listen to that track that features Burna Boy.
Exactly.
For me, I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to rate the album, I'm going to give an album an 8 over 10. And the reason is basically because, aside from the production, which was dope, this is an album whereby, I mean, considering the age of Black Sherif kind of, it told some sort of deep story on this album.
Yeah,
true. It was more like he was revealing a deep, dark part about himself. I mean, from the first track, which is, that first track alone, I'm not even going to lie, for me personally, that first track alone set me in the mood. I listened to that first track 3 times before I next it, like, yo, how can this guy be so small and have such, word or such experience, in his mouth? It sounds like he has witnessed the world in a whole different level, and he was just putting that on the old song. Even when that song Soldier came out, I'm like, yo, this guy, his songs are deep. His songs that they connect and you can easily understand, like, yo, this guy has seen a lot. Maybe not him or maybe people around him, but they've seen a lot and he's putting that into his music. His songs carries a lot of passion and a lot of emotion. And for me, in the whole of Africa, at least, talking about debut albums that I've listened to, I'm not talking about the ones that I don't know of, but the ones that I've listened to, I would say it is one of the best debut albums to be released in Africa as much as 2022 is concerned. Now, I'm not saying it is the best. Please, people take note. I said it is one of the best.
Exactly.
One of the best. So if I'm going to rate the album, like I said, I'm going to give the album, an 8 over 10. Now, we've given the album 8 over. I've given the album 8 over 10. You've given the album a 7 over 10. But let's just talk about in terms of replay value, and if you are going to recommend the album. Is this an album you will say, okay, by next year I'm still going to pick it up and listen to it, or I'm done once this year is over, I'm done? And then is it an album you also be able to recommend somebody and say, okay, you know what, you want to listen to good music from Africa, then listen to Black Sherif album?
Personally, Black Sherif's album is not an album I can do away with anytime soon, because I listen to albums that resonate with my soul, songs that resonate with my soul and spirit, everything. And Black Sherif's album is literally one of them. So I don't even think in 2 years' time I am over Black Sherif's album. I don't think so. Except he comes, even if he comes up with a new body of work, I will vibe to it. But then this I can't let go. The Villian and I can't let this album go, because it's something I will recommend to people even in years to come to listen to. To be very honest, he did a whole lot. He did a whole lot of badass work on the album. So let's just give him the credit that he deserves it, basically.
We are giving Black Sherif the credit that he deserves, because, like Jerry said, he did a whole lot, on this album. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and my amazing members of the Chacha Nation, we have come to the end of another episode of the Chacha Album Review Series on your award-winning podcast, the Chacha Music Review Podcast. Like, come your way with another episode. My name will always remain Hafeestonova, aka your musical plug, creator of the Energy Force. Remember, keep the energy, keep it 100, and keep it positive. Peace out.
Cha-cha time, two time for the cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. Rockin' with the best, the cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. Alayela with cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. What's in my body, cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang, cha-cha gang. What's in my body?